Your Jeep's check engine light just turned on, and dealerships can charge over $200 just to diagnose it before fixing anything. But there are 7 proven ways to reset that light yourself, and most cost absolutely nothing. One method takes less than 2 minutes, another costs less than a tank of gas, and dealers hope you never learn any of them. Let's start at number 7, the drive cycle reset. This one is the slowest fix on the entire list, but it costs you nothing. Every Jeep built since 1996 has an onboard diagnostic system called OBD2, and that system runs constant background tests on your engine, sensors, and emissions every time you drive. Those tests are known as readiness monitors. The system tracks your oxygen sensors, your catalytic converter, your EVAP system, and any engine misfires. When you fix the underlying problem causing your check engine light, the computer will not just trust you. It wants to verify the fix by running each monitor and confirming everything passes clean. Once all monitors clear, the yellow light shuts off on its own. So the way to trigger a proper drive cycle on any Jeep goes like this. Start with a fully cold engine that has sat for at least 8 hours. Turn the key, let it idle for 2 to 3 minutes. Drive at a steady 20 to 30 miles per hour for about 3 minutes. Hit a steady 40 to 60 miles per hour and hold it there for 15 minutes straight. Slow back down with light braking, then idle in gear for about 5 more minutes before shutting it off. That's one full cycle, sourced directly from the documented Chrysler drive trace procedure. However, most Jeep codes need somewhere between 30 and 50 complete cold to warm starts before the computer wipes everything, which can take days of mixed driving. On the Jeep Wrangler forum, owners running California smog tests report needing anywhere from a few miles to several hundred miles to hit ready status. One EcoDiesel Wrangler owner even reported 1,000 miles before all monitors completed. The catalyst monitor is the trickiest one because it only runs when the engine is fully warm. No pending codes are stored, fuel level sits between 15 and 85% of the tank, and engine speed stays between 1,350 and 1,900 revolutions per minute during steady cruising. So if you're stuck in city traffic all week, that monitor will never complete. But if you sealed a vacuum leak or swapped a worn sensor, this method clears the code without you touching a single tool. However, if you want a faster trick, number 6 costs nothing and takes 30 seconds flat. And that drops us into number 6, tightening the gas cap. This one is the single most common reason your Jeep's check engine light flicked on in the first place. A loose, cracked, or missing gas cap is responsible for a massive chunk of every Jeep CEL on the road, and Wrangler forum threads back this up constantly. The reason comes down to your Jeep's evaporative emissions system, known as EVAP. The gas cap creates a seal on your fuel tank. The second that seal breaks, even from a tiny crack on the rubber gasket, fuel vapors escape into the atmosphere. Your Jeep's onboard computer detects the leak and flips the yellow light on as a warning. The fix could not be simpler. Park your Jeep, twist the cap off, inspect the rubber gasket for cracks or grime, then screw it back on until you hear it click at least 3 times. That click sound actually matters. If your cap will not click anymore, the internal ratchet mechanism has failed, and you need a new one. A genuine Mopar non-locking replacement, part number 520303887AB, fits 2004 through 2018 Wranglers and runs roughly $20 to $30 at any auto parts store or on Amazon. The 2018 and newer JL Wrangler uses a different cap, part number 520304333AB. Now, a detail almost no Jeep owner knows about. Loose gas cap codes like P0455 for a large EVAP leak or P0456 for a small one will not always clear themselves automatically. Many Jeep owners report needing a scanner or several drive cycles to wipe them, and on the JL Wrangler forum, owners have flagged stubborn P0456 codes that returned even after replacing the cap entirely. So if you've driven a full week and the light still will not quit, the code has stored itself harder and the issue runs deeper than the cap. Common culprits beyond the cap include cracked EVAP hoses, a failed evaporative system integrity monitor known as the ESIM, or a stuck-open purge valve. But the gas cap fix is so cheap and quick that it should always be your first move. However, if the cap turns out clean and the light stays on, number 5 gives you a clever shortcut. Now we slide into number 5, pulling the PCM fuse. This method keeps your radio presets and clock fully intact, unlike a full battery disconnect. Instead of cutting power to your entire Jeep, you cut power only to the powertrain control module, also called the PCM. On a Jeep Wrangler JK built between 2007 and 2018, the main fuse panel sits under the hood, right next to the battery, inside what Jeep calls the Totally Integrated Power Module, or TIPM. The PCM relay on a 2009 JK Wrangler sits in position K5 and is labeled PCM RLY, while the PCM trans-range fuse sits in position J18 as a 20-amp yellow blade fuse. Your owner's manual has a clean diagram showing exactly which fuse controls the PCM on your specific year and model. Use the fuse puller, that little plastic tool clipped inside most Jeep fuse boxes, or grip the fuse with needle nose pliers. Pull the PCM fuse straight up and out. Wait at least 15 minutes. Slot the fuse back into the exact same position and push down until it seats fully. Start your engine, let it idle, and the check engine light should be wiped if the underlying issue was minor. The advantage over a full battery disconnect is huge. Your radio presets stay intact, your clock keeps the right time, only the engine control module loses its memory. However, this method works best on older Jeeps, especially Wranglers built before 2014. On newer Jeeps with sophisticated CAN bus networks and security gateway protection, the system can ignore a brief power interruption and hang on to stored codes anyway. So treat this as a Tier 2 option. But the next method goes back deeper into Jeep history, into a secret feature most owners have never used. Before we get into the next reset trick, if you want to keep your Jeep running past 200,000 or even 500,000 miles, check out my ebook, The 500,000 Mile Jeep Blueprint. It's packed with the maintenance habits, mistakes to avoid, and hidden tips most owners never learn until it's too late. Link is down in the description below. And that brings us straight to number 4, the ignition key cycle trick. This one is one of the best kept secrets in older Jeep ownership. The trick applies specifically to older Jeep models, mainly the Wrangler TJ from 1997 through 2006, the Cherokee XJ in its OBD1 form, the Grand Cherokee WJ, and certain JK Wranglers. According to the Jeep Wrangler forum and the Jeep TJ Technical FAQ, the procedure is shockingly simple. Insert your key into the ignition. Turn it from off to on, off to on, off to on, 3 full cycles, all within 5 seconds. Important details you cannot skip. Do not crank the starter. You're rotating only to the on position, where your dashboard lights illuminate but the engine stays asleep. Leave the key in the on position after the 3rd cycle and wait about 5 to 10 seconds. Your odometer display then reveals something pretty incredible. Stored diagnostic trouble codes appear right on the digital odometer screen, like P0455, or P0171, or P0420. After all codes finish displaying, the screen reads code 55, which means there are no more codes to follow. But a trade-off applies that you absolutely need to understand. This trick is fantastic for reading codes without buying a scanner, but the key cycle does not actually clear the check engine light on most OBD2 Jeeps. It only reveals what the codes are. Pre-1996 OBD1 Cherokee XJs are a different story, and the trick also will not work on 1998 and 1999 model year TJs, or some 2000s, due to a change in the OBD system during those years. So for Wranglers built in 1997 or from 2000 onward through about 2006, plus most JKs, this method gives you the code info without flipping the light off. So why does any of this even matter? Because the moment you know your code, you can target the exact fix instead of guessing. A P0455 means a large EVAP leak, so check your gas cap. A P0456 means a small EVAP leak, often the ESIM or purge valve. A P0171 means system too lean on bank 1, which triggers when short-term or long-term fuel trim climbs above 25%, almost always from a vacuum leak, a dirty mass airflow sensor, a torn PCV hose, or a weak fuel pump. A P0420 means catalyst efficiency below threshold on bank 1, set when the downstream oxygen sensor signal starts mirroring the upstream sensor signal. Knowing the exact code turns a guessing game into a precise repair, and precision saves you hundreds in parts you do not actually need. However, if you want to fully kill the code right now, number 3 is the classic shop fix. Coming in at number 3 is the battery disconnect. This one is the classic shop trick that has cleared engine codes since the 1990s. When you cut power to your Jeep's engine control module, the ECM loses its stored memory of trouble codes. Restore power, and the module reboots with a clean slate. The yellow light vanishes. Pop the hood, find your battery on the driver's side, and look for the negative terminal. It has a black cap and a minus symbol stamped on it. The positive sits right next to it with a red cap and a plus symbol. Grab a 10mm wrench, the size most Jeep batteries use. Loosen the nut on the negative terminal only. You should never touch the positive while the negative is still disconnected. Pull the negative cable off the post and rest it somewhere it cannot accidentally touch the terminal. Walk away for at least 15 to 30 minutes. Some Jeep owners on the forums also recommend pressing the horn for about 20 seconds during the wait to drain any residual capacitor charge from the system. After the wait, reconnect the negative cable, tighten the nut firmly, start your Jeep, and let it idle for 2 minutes. Check the dashboard. The yellow light should be completely gone if the code was a simple soft code. However, you need to know what else gets reset along with the code. Your radio presets vanish, your clock resets, your Uconnect system reboots. On some models, your power window auto-up function needs recalibration by rolling each window fully down, then fully up to relearn the stop position. Adaptive transmission shift points reset too, so your Jeep might shift slightly differently for the first 100 miles while it relearns your driving style. But the catch nobody mentions is this. If the underlying problem is still there, the light comes right back within 1 or 2 drive cycles. Battery disconnect treats the symptom, not the root cause. And on newer Wranglers with dual battery systems like the JL with the auxiliary stop-start battery, you may need to disconnect both negative terminals for the reset to fully take. Skip that step on a dual battery setup, and residual power from the second battery can mask your reset entirely. But if even this method fails to wipe a stubborn code, number 2 goes nuclear. And that takes us to number 2, the combined battery and ignition cycle. This one is also known as the nuclear option for the most stubborn Jeep check engine codes on the planet. The method combines a battery disconnect with a full ignition cycle to drain every drop of residual voltage hiding inside the ECM. The procedure goes like this. First, pop the hood and disconnect the negative battery terminal using your 10mm wrench. Set the cable safely aside. Now jump into the driver's seat and turn the ignition key to the on position. Even though the battery is disconnected and the engine will not start, small capacitors inside the ECM still hold a trickle of stored voltage that keeps trouble codes alive. Hold the key at on for about 15 seconds straight. Some Jeep owners also recommend pressing and holding the brake pedal during this time to bleed off any extra stored voltage. Turn the key back to off and pull it out entirely. Walk away for at least 10 more minutes. Now reconnect the negative battery terminal, tighten the bolt down firmly, and slip back into the driver's seat. Start your Jeep. Let it idle for 10 to 15 seconds without you touching the throttle pedal at all. Shut it off. Restart it and drive normally. The Jeep Wrangler JK forum has documented this method clearing stubborn codes that simple battery disconnect leaves behind, especially on Jeeps from the 2005 to 2014 era with persistent P0420 catalyst codes or P0455 EVAP codes. Why does this work when plain battery disconnect fails? Because modern ECMs have backup capacitors that retain code memory for several minutes after losing battery power. The full key cycle drains those capacitors completely, leaving 0 stored voltage. You should also expect your radio presets to vanish, your clock to reset, and your adaptive transmission and idle learn to need 50 to 100 miles of normal driving to relearn your habits. But the absolute gold standard sits right at number 1. And finally, we land on number 1, the OBD2 scanner. This one is the absolute gold standard for clearing any Jeep check engine light made after 1996. An OBD2 scanner plugs directly into your Jeep's diagnostic port, which sits underneath the dashboard on the driver's side, typically within 18 inches of the steering wheel as a 16-pin trapezoidal connector. The port is universal across every Jeep built after 1996, mandated by federal law. That means the Wrangler TJ, JK, JL, the Grand Cherokee WJ, WK, WK2, the Cherokee KJ, KK, KL, the Compass, the Patriot, the Renegade, and the Gladiator. Every single one. The full workflow takes 90 seconds. Locate the OBD2 port. Plug the scanner connector firmly into the port. Turn your ignition to on without starting the engine. Power the scanner up, navigate to read codes, and your stored trouble codes appear within seconds on the screen. Then navigate to erase codes, confirm the action, and the yellow light shuts off the moment you restart the engine. Drive away. Done. The kicker on cost is wild. A basic Bluetooth OBD2 dongle from brands like V-Gate iCar Pro or VPeak sells for around $20 to $30 on Amazon and pairs with your phone over free or low-cost apps like Torque, Car Scanner, or JScan. The V-Gate iCar Pro reads over 3,000 codes and displays their meanings. A 2018 Wrangler JL owner on the JL Wrangler forum confirmed wiping his CEL with a Bluetooth scanner. But the dealership has a dirty little secret that almost nobody talks about. Starting in 2018, every Stellantis-built Jeep, which means JL Wranglers, Gladiators, 2017 and newer Jeep Compass and Cherokee KL, 2016 and newer Renegades, and 2018 and newer Grand Cherokees, ships with a security gateway module known as the SGW. According to Z Automotive and the JL Wrangler forum, this module deliberately blocks aftermarket scanners from clearing codes or running active tests, forcing you to pay the dealer. The bypass is a small 12 plus 8-pin adapter cable that plugs in between your scanner and the SGW module behind the dashboard. Brands like Z Automotive, Augocom, and Xtool all make one for around $20 to $50 on Amazon. Once it's plugged in, your cheap Bluetooth scanner gets full dealer-level access. So for under $50 total, you've got a tool that pays for itself the very first time the yellow light pops on. And that math wins every round. So that wraps up the 7 best ways to reset your Jeep's check engine light without wasting hundreds at the dealership. If this video helped you out, hit subscribe right now and let me know in the comments which method worked on your Jeep. And if you want to keep your Jeep alive for the long haul, click the video on screen right now. See you there.